Good evening and welcome into the Love Yourself Spiritual Channel. My name is Peggy. I have been absent for a little while. It has been breeding season. We raise horses as one of our mini jobs at this point. Um, and while still in the middle of starting our herbal business for animals and humans. So I apologize for my absence, but I have to honor my own needs and, of course, the needs of my family and my other businesses. And so I had to set this pet project of mine, this YouTube channel, aside just for a little while so that I could honor those things and my ability to keep my head above the water as well. But I wanted to come on. I've been felt prompted to do a little bit about the new moon in Gemini. And one of the questions that I had posed to me recently was, what is a new moon versus a full moon and what does it mean? And so I thought I would just start there because that actually is fairly important. Your new moons are when the sun and the moon align. And so it's actually sort of an absence of the light of the moon. And the new moons, when they align perfectly, what that does energetically for us is that it aligns the feminine and masculine energies, or the conscious and the subconscious, brings them into alignment. And so it's actually one of the most powerful times to manifest something and to make significant changes in our intuitive, by listening to our intuition, especially in some of our karmic journeys and some of the patterns and stuff that we've been experiencing that we want to leave behind. When new moon comes, it's actually the opening of a portal that allows us, if we will intuitively listen, to actually step through into a different energy or a different chapter, a different paradigm, a different pattern that we may want to set up. So that is the difference between a new moon, or that's what's special about a new moon, I should say. So it's really a time, especially the 72 hours of the full moon and then leading out past the full moon. If you're wanting to manifest something in your life, that is actually the very best time to do it. And by going intuitively inside and connecting to those heart energies and the energies that are intuitively coming to you, to close out some things that you aren't wanting to continue, and then also begin the things that you are wanting to manifest. The heart is actually where you draw back your manifestations to you. So it's very important time, because, and this is actually one of the most powerful moons that we will have possibly this year. Definitely for the last couple of years, I would say, definitely, as far as manifestation, just because of the alignment of the other planets that are involved, which I'll go over with you about a little bit. So I did actually pull out some cards, and we're not going to actually do a reading. I just wanted to use the cards to kind of show how much energy and what things could be coming at you during this Gemini full new moon. Of course, Gemini rules the sign of the twins, which twins is just about the dichotomies of everything, really. Gemini is a sign that really shows us the polarities. The twins can represent the light and the dark, the yin and the yang, feminine and masculine. But also twins, being twins, it represents really friending those things together, harmonizing them together. And Gemini is the sign that rules the lovers. And this used to be, in tarot, used to be called the choice. And I have to cover these little guys because YouTube doesn't like it when you show off their, anyway. But the lovers is actually represented by the sign of a Gemini. It's a Gemini card. It's our power card. And it's about balancing the choices, harmonizing the choices, harmonizing the lovers. And really the relationship that you have with yourself should be the most profound love relationship that you ever have. And it really has to has to start within you, because the things that you don't balance within yourself, they're going to show up mirrored back to you in those relationships that you have with other people. And so it's the choice. It's the choice to harmonize with the self. And then by way of doing that, actually being able to draw back to you from other people that same harmonization, which is very beautiful. So some of the things that are also ruled by Gemini, or within the sign of Gemini, besides the internal harmony and that choice to do that, is also communication, mental activity. It's ruled by Mercury, and Mercury deals a lot with the workings of the mind and how powerful our minds are and how they manifest, which brings me to the next card, which is actually a Mercury card. But as Mercury is the ruler of Gemini, I felt like it was important also to point out that that manifestation is actually ruled by the energy of Mercury, because it is with your mind and with your throat chakra, especially those two things, that you manifest the majority of the things that come into your life. Because as you think a thought or speak a word, your heart has an immediate response to it, and the energy of your heart and your mind go together out into the universe, and then are draw back to you things that are equivalent to that thought and feeling combination. And then of course we have the moon card, and anything during a moon is just a little bit obscured, and it requires you to go inside to see the truth, where when the sun is out, the details of something are very clear. But the moon card, anything to do with the moon, always suggests listening to your intuition, to go within, to go to the receptive energies, because the moon is always about the feminine energy, the subconscious, the receptive energy. And then a couple of the other things that are influencing right now is that Jupiter is actually also in the sign of Gemini right now. So and they're wonderful bedmates, I would say. Gemini and Sagittarius, they get along very beautifully. The Wheel of Fortune, which is actually a Sagittarius card. Wheel of Fortune is just really good fortune. It's good luck. It's and it's also considered the karmic wheel. And so the things that are manifesting in your life are coming a lot of times in response to that karmic turn, the turning of the wheel, the wheels of karma. And as you close out cycles that are karmic in your life, there's always that gift. There's always that fortune that comes with it, that comes as wisdom. But anything that comes to you of a positive nature will always bring 3D fortune with it. So anytime you close out a karmic cycle, it always adds abundance to your life in some respect. And then Temperance, which is Sagittarius card. And it's a card of balancing. And again, like the Lovers is for Gemini, it's about balancing this, not so much in the 3D, but more in the spiritual realm, balancing the energies within you, and then balancing the energies that are within you also with someone else, and understanding the workings of the yin and the yang within you, so that you can understand them with someone else as well. We've also had Mars just move into the sign of Aries, actually just in the last few days, and it's moved out of the sign of Pisces. And this is actually, in my opinion, it's a really good thing in some respects, because it's going to make forward motion. It's going to make some things come through that you've maybe been thinking about for a while. Some things that have kind of been on your mind are actually going to now have some push behind them to maybe push them on through. Maybe some communication that you've wanted to give someone, or a situation, say at work or in a relationship, where you wanted to settle things out, settle things down, maybe have a conversation to make peace, or to close some things out that aren't working. Maybe move some people out of your life that actually aren't that good for you, that you've recognized and been kind of mulling over that they're not very good for you, and that maybe it's time that you move away from those energies. And so Mars Mars is a is a planet that um, rules the tower. And a tower isn't always a bad thing. A tower is often just a very strong emotional moment where clear insight has come to you. That once you've seen the insight, or once you've felt the insight, you're never quite the same. You actually, it does spur you to take action, which is actually one of the things that Mars does. It's so it rules Aries, which is the god of war, and so the need to take action is very strong. And then the other thing that Saturn does is Saturn rules karma. And so Saturn moving into Mars, the effect that that's actually going to have on everything that's happening. Saturn is the planet of self-discipline, self-control, planning, dotting the I's, crossing the T's, making certain that all the things are set right. And Saturn rules karma. So karmic journeys, karmic things that have to do with karma. So I do believe that a lot of the communication that's going to be happening around this full moon probably is going to take place with some kind of karmic push behind it. Because what you close out now is actually going to, for the next 8 months, affect you, because Saturn is going to, Saturn is going to stay in the sign of Aries with Mars there next door, or next to it, for the next 8 months. So we've got 8 months of this setup where whatever you decide to do in the next 3 days, or the things that you decide to think or close out in the next 3 days, are actually going to have a profound effect on how the next 8 months are laid out, because you're setting up the energies in a way that once the portal closes, you're going to kind of be locked into those. I'm not saying you can't change. It will just, the energy to change right now is pretty profound. It's pretty high. And then a couple of the cards that have actually to do with our 3D world, these are actually all major arcana cards, meaning this is the spiritual energies that are being offered to us right now that are going to have the highest impact in our life, or at least going to deal with the areas of life, the karmic journey, the things that are closing out, the moments of clear insight as you listen to the intuition that the moon is offering, tempering the emotions, making the choices, and then manifesting what it is that you want to have different. And everything begins its manifestation in the spiritual realm. And so it can just be a change in the mind, a change that I'm not going to be stuck in my head so much, which is this Eight of Swords. And this Eight of Swords is Sagittarius in Gemini energy. And the Eight of Swords, if you're moving out of the Eight of Swords, it's about seeing the blind spots that you had before, the things that within your own mind were prisoning you. And it's about moving forward to freedom, to thoughts that don't imprison you, that empower you, because you're not helpless. And the Eight of Wands it's actually a Sagittarius card too, with Mercury energy. And it's about moving forward in passionate ways. It's about sending communication and just moving in a more spiritually passionate way than maybe what you have in the past. So that's, there's some really beautiful energies right now. And it's a really powerful time that if you'll take the time to sit down, and this is what I have done. I sat down and I wrote a whole list of the things that I am most grateful for in my life at this time. And really got into some feelings of strong gratitude about them. And then I wrote a list of the things that I would like to transmute, that I would like to alchemize the energies of, and become more clear on. And anything that I had that I felt was a resentment to anyone, because you can't resent anyone and fully love even yourself. And it has to start with you. The love that you feel has to start with you. And so if you even have a shred of resentment towards someone, you're not going to be able to fully love yourself, because we are all connected. And so I wrote out all of the resentments that I could think of that I had not fully released. And I wrote them down, and then I burned the piece of paper and released them as I did it. And so that's something that I would suggest doing. And when I was done with that, I read back over my list of gratitude items, and then I read my manifestations again, and then I just did a short 5-minute meditation where I just envisioned some of those things and just sat within the energy that I would want to manifest them through. So I would maybe suggest doing something of that nature. It doesn't have to be real formal. You can just do it as you want. And but yeah, this new moon in Gemini is actually going to be pretty important going forward for the next 8 months. So get ready, and always know that you're supported. Namaste. Be blessed.